So Anthony Joshua labours to a 7th round knockout of late replacement Robert Helenius, completely flattens him with a big overhand right. And these are my immediate impressions. Not good enough. Plain and simple. That's not good enough. Joshua made hard work of this. And against a fighter the caliber of Robert Helenius, any prospect, any notion of fighting Wilder in the next few months is career suicide potentially. I was watching this around a friend's house, and I said kind of facetiously, Anthony Joshua in this fight is making Robert Helenius look like some kind of dangerous up and coming heavyweight contender, when Robert Helenius isn't that. He is a gatekeeper, I think it's fair to say. I think he's kind of gone beyond fringe contender. That'd be very generous. And now Robert Helenius isn't useless. He's a fighter with some ability. And I also do factor in it's a late replacement, 7 days notice. And on top of that, there's familiarity there, whereby Helenius is a former sparring partner of Joshua. And Helenius does strike me as someone who, in this stage of his career, I feel like he's got a bit of a nothing to lose kind of attitude. So he is a bit braver than he was years gone by. However, the caliber, the chasm between Joshua and Helenius is vast, let's be real. But Joshua just isn't there. This was a poor performance. It was, in terms of how the fight unfolded, a lot of it was two very big heavyweights as they are, very long range, at long range, looking to basically have a patient kind of long range boxing match. And Joshua, there were times where he kind of attempted to push the issue, and he looked like he was going to pressure Helenius. But I don't know whether it was Helenius's posture or the ramrod jab that Helenius landed on quite a few occasions that rocked Joshua's head back, but shook Joshua up. And he didn't have any confidence. I know a lot of people, they pointed that out in the Franklin fight. They said, nah, Joshua scared of his own shadow. He looked like he was bursting in confidence in that fight compared to this. In this fight, he did not look confident at all. There wasn't a shred of confidence in Joshua. And I feel like that was reflected. You could see that, obviously, in the fight, but especially afterwards in the post-fight interview, which we'll get onto. But yeah, Joshua, he looked like he was trying to practice some new things, nothing too exotic. It looked like he was trying to use some head movement, slip onto the inside of the taller man's jab, because even though Robert Helenius is only listed as being half an inch taller, I think he's probably a good inch, maybe inch and a half taller. That's how it looked anyway in the ring. And Joshua hasn't had to fight tall guys for a while, and he looked like he was trying to change up his approach, use a bit of that extended guard to kind of smother the shots of Robert Helenius. But Helenius, to his credit, using that ramrod jab, really getting the most out of it, busted Joshua's eye up from as early as the second round. I noticed the swelling. By the end of the fight, Joshua's face looked like mincemeat. He had blood pouring out of both nostrils. He had a lump on his nose. Both of his eyes looked like they were swollen. It was, against Robert Helenius, who, as I say, is not useless. Late replacement. There's familiarity there, but it's just not good enough. Not good enough. Robert Helenius, most of his success came from the jab. He landed a couple of right hands that were a bit cuffing. They kind of knocked Joshua around a little bit. He wasn't hurt. However, there were some sneaky right hooks to the body that Helenius landed. And to his credit, he did land a couple of those against Deontay Wilder. So it does seem to be a punch that he can land with some decency. But yeah, Helenius, I wasn't keeping track, but this is hard work for Joshua. And I feel like a lot of it was hard work that he made it hard for himself. He made it difficult for himself because he's just overthinking. It's like he's trying to think of every single step before he does it. And he's not in the moment. It's paralysis by analysis. And obviously very cautious, not trying to get hit. And ironically, the big right hand, he had to take a flush Robert Helenius jab before he landed it. And it just made me think, it's like, why didn't you take this risk early on? Because he had Helenius On a couple of occasions, he had Helenius against the ropes. And you just felt like you could just push the issue, because Helenius is not a fighter where he's going to fight you up close. If you take the space away from Helenius, he's not as effective. And now, don't get me wrong, you have to be cautious, because Helenius can turn over that right hand with some decent sharpness. But there were moments where Joshua managed to get in range, into a range where Helenius wouldn't be able to be effective. Joshua just couldn't do anything. Just too gun shy, too shell shocked. That's what Anthony Joshua is. He's shell shocked. And now I've tried to be quite fair, because you should know me by now. I just describe what I see, the observations. Whether you agree with them, disagree with them, whether they're the same as other people's, doesn't matter. I'm just going to say it how I see it. And for a long time, I genuinely had the feeling that if Joshua had an appropriate rehabilitation, he'd be able to maybe get back to some good form like he was before, maybe even surpass that, because I felt like Joshua always had a bit more to give. I didn't think he was done. After this performance, I changed my mind. I think he is done. I think he is a shell-shocked fighter. I think his soul is lost. It's lost in the ether. And some people are going to say that's the Andy Ruiz fight. Maybe. I don't know. I think this is the result of just compounding losses and hard performances. And Joshua, he talks about boxing finesse and how he wants to show a different side. He wants to develop different aspects of his game. But in my opinion, he's regressing. And you guys know I'm someone, I love skill. I love technique. I love tactics. That's what my channel's about. It's what I love talking about. So I appreciate it. But there comes a time in every fighter's career where you just got to go for it. You can't be letting a man like Robert Helenius bust you up like that when you're being talked about in the same sentence as Wilder. That's nah. And I feel like going to that post-fight interview, Ade, as he should, inevitably asked Joshua, Wilder next. Is that happening? Joshua's saying, I want to fight at least twice more this year. Now, does he mean that Wilder's included in those 2 fights? I don't think 2 fights is realistic for, 3.5 months left of the year, if that's it. And then Ade asks him again just before Joshua leaves. And Joshua tries to joke it off and say, I'm getting sick and tired of carrying the heavyweight division on my back or something. No definitive answer. Whereas Eddie Hearn is saying, we're shooting for the Deontay Wilder fight in January. Singing from different hymn sheets as far as I can see. Joshua knows he's not ready. He knows that's not good enough. And I don't think he wants to fight Deontay Wilder in January, because I believe that he believes, or he anticipates, that his fate is sealed should he fight Deontay Wilder. And now, I know this is inevitably going to spark the whole, this proves that Anthony Joshua was ducking Deontay Wilder all along. BS. I don't buy that. I think it's pretty much public knowledge now that back in 2018, 2019, some serious offers were made to Deontay Wilder, but he was too dumb to see, and his team talked him out of taking career high paydays. And obviously the dynamic was different then. Anthony Joshua was unified heavyweight champion, hadn't lost, was on top of the world, riding crest of a wave. And those were serious offers. Deontay Wilder didn't want the fight, but that was then, and this is now. And I've got to concede and agree that I think now in 2023, Joshua doesn't want that fight. Whereas Wilder, he must have been watching from home thinking, this is easy money. They're talking about 50-50 fight? Nah. This is easy money. And that's what I believe Anthony Joshua is now. He's a target. I think he's a victim. And not looking good. Maybe some of you guys think I'm being overly harsh, but this just wasn't good. There was nothing new from Joshua, nothing intelligent, nothing impressive. And against the caliber of Robert Helenius, nah. And I factor in late replacement, okay fighter, familiarity from sparring, but it's just not good enough. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. These are my initial thoughts on it. Maybe we can revisit this one, pick it apart, see what we have to do. But I'm going to leave you guys with that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm going to get some sleep. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.